Hello and welcome all. Myself, Dr. Anson Angel Nelson, and today we have with us here Senior Ophthalmologist Dr. Mathew Joseph. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Let's begin with your academic career, sir. Could you please briefly tell us about it?
Okay. I did my MBBS from St. John's Medical College, Bangalore. I passed out in 73. While in the college, I was General Secretary of the Students Association. And then after 73, there was no post-graduation in St. John's at that time. So I had to go to Bombay University. I was registered at the LTMG, that is Lokmanya Tilak Medical College. That's a government medical college. Then I worked all in Nayar's Hospital and also the government eye hospital in Grand Road. Then in 77, I passed out. And then I wanted to do some rural service, and I was not interested in continuing in Bombay. So I and my wife, she's also a doctor, we went to a small village. Actually, that time it was village. They used to call it a Gaon. Today, if you say that name, it is actually part of Bombay. It's been absorbed into New Bombay, Navi Mumbai. That was Panvel. So I worked there for about 3 years. But then in 1980, when we came down for holidays, my parents refused to send us back. They said, you have to come down and settle here. So that is then 5 years I worked in a hospital in Nagarkoil, Tamil Nadu. Then after that, 1985, I came here. That was briefly. Then, of course, I have got my other interests like I have recently invented a device for sharp turning of ships and fast. Device can also be used for stopping ships and vessels in a very short time. Then I have got publications in the American and Australian and New Zealand journals of ophthalmology. So that is briefly my. Then, of course, the Royal Australian and Royal Australian College of Ophthalmologists had offered me employment in one of their universities. But at that time, because of unfortunate circumstances, financial and all, I could not go. So then after that, after the COVID came, my children forced me to retire. They said this much is enough. So that is briefly my history.
All right, sir. From previous interviews and newspaper articles about you, I came across something called the Q conjunctivitis, which you discovered. Yeah. What was it, sir?
See, in 1985, when I reached Kollam, that time Kollam was called Quilon, Quilon. So then I started seeing a type of conjunctivitis which was not described in any textbook. So I started studying it. It was a kind of, to describe it is, it is seasonal. So, and it is during September, October, November months usually it appears. So it has got the appearance of an allergic conjunctivitis. So it was being treated as allergic conjunctivitis here. But then I found that it is really not allergic, that not the typical described type. First of all, it appears on the lateral sides of the eye, and usually in young people, in children and young people. And then I examined it under the slit lamp microscope, biomicroscope. I found that it has got along the margin of the cornea, there are follicles, and then the tips of the follicle, the apices of the follicle stain with fluorescein stain. And there are also what are called superficial punctate keratitis, SPK, on the cornea. So all this led me, and also its response to treatment. I found the rock bed of treatment for allergic is steroid drops. But then I found that cases treated with steroids, they tend to become recalcitrant. That is, they more difficult to treat. And they tend to recover next year, again recur next year. But then if it is treated as a viral disease, and it's a permanent cure. So I suspected that it is a virus disease. So, but unfortunately, those days, and even today, there are no, that is a problem with India. We don't have enough technology to investigate all this. See, like the basic thing you need is photography, that is photomicrography through the slit lamp, which can show all the details. Now, that was not there. Then to prove whether it is virus or not, again that such facilities are not there. So I tried lots to contact people and other institutions, including Vellore and St. John's. But then St. John's and all did not even bother to reply. But Vellore, at least somebody took it up for some time and then they lost interest. So then I wrote, with whatever information I have got, I wrote to the American Journal of Ophthalmology. It's the most respected journal in the world. Actually, they said, they accepted that it is something new. See, I write briefly to you. Thank you for writing concerning your letter, a new conjunctivitis. We considered your letter at considerable length at our editorial conference on April 20th. This is 6th May 1987. We thought that the material was of interest and we appreciated your letter concerning the difficulty in photography. Unfortunately, so much is lost in the translation from a photograph to the printed page that you require well-nigh perfect prints to start with. That means they wanted good naturally. Who should trust my word, no? Then of course, virology studies they needed. None of this was available to me. So in desperation, I thought the nearest place where you can have a virus lab is the Sri Chitra Thirunal Institute there's a national institute in Trivandrum. So I approached the director of that institute. He's a founder director. He is no more. Dr. Valyathan, who he also was interested in this. So he offered the services of their virology department. Then, and he sent me to, but the problem again is politics. There, at once I could sense the hostility, and anyway, that also, to make the story short, that fizzled out, and Dr. Valyathan was sad about it. He wrote to me later on, it is there. So then in 1996, actually this was accepted at the International Conference on Cornea, Eye Banking and External Diseases in Prague, Czech Republic. They said, we are pleased to inform you that your abstract number 007 entitled A New Conjunctivitis has been accepted for presentation at the forthcoming International Conference on Cornea, Eye Banking and External Diseases. So this is but for that also I could not go because of financial constraints. So this is, it's very difficult to do original work especially from small institutions. So that was that. So I had named it Coilon conjunctivitis, and then I Q conjunctivitis, I shortened it. So Q can be either Coilon or query, okay? And it remains a query even today, after nearly 40 years. That is a sad part. That was it. So, okay, now the second one you wanted was?
Yes, also I came across an article about modification to retinoscope, which you have done.
Yes, doctor. Okay. Actually, in eye testing, there are two parts. One is an objective test. The other is subjective test. Now, objective test is you measure what the refractive error, what is the power of your eye first. and then later on you then verify it with putting on the trial lens and trial. You have seen the trial frame and all. Now the first part is the objective part, objective test. Objective test is it is done with a streak retinoscope. Now this is called the optics and refraction. Now optics and refraction is a part I know. I at that time during my time such a paper was not there for MS. Whereas for FRCS, actually optics and refraction is a separate subject and paper altogether. The one is objects and this one. The second is, of course, eye diseases and all, where you do the clinicals. This is also on a separate day. They have a objective type of paper, test paper. Then they keep a patient and you have to do the refraction, and the examiners come and question you. They verify the refraction. Then there is a viva also. So they make sure that the ophthalmologists are well versed, who get that qualification, know well about refraction. But here in India, I don't know, that part is not given much importance, So we are dependent mostly on refractionists and refractionists, trained refractionists, which we can't check whether, we have to know refraction, to know whether they are doing it properly. Then, so nowadays in India, most of the people depend on what is called an autorefractometer. That is, they call it computer testing. So it is often told that, touted as being superior in a computer testing. Of course, it sounds very impressive, but then the real thing is, it should be done by the streak retinoscope. Now, streak retinoscope is an instrument. This I will show you, doctor, just a minute. So this is the instrument. You have to look through the small hole, and then this instrument puts a light into your pupil, and then you have to neutralize that. I mean, it's a complicated process. Now, looking through the small hole and doing refraction, I found it is very strenuous for everyone. Very few people only would do. Then the one, you can imagine, no? I am sitting at this distance, that is 33 centimeters. That is where you do the refraction. So I am accommodating all the time to look into your eye, and through the small hole. That gives tremendous strain and headaches even to the refractionists, So I thought, why not put a lens in front of that hole, through which the examiner can look. Now, what lens should it be? Now, our accommodation is, that is our focusing power, is measured in diopters.
Yes.
So, when you are sitting, the examining distance is 1/3 of a meter, that is about 33 centimeters. Now, I realize that if we put a plus 1.5 lens, it's this thing, focal length is 33 centimeters. So what happens is, when you're looking through that, your accommodation is completely relaxed. Understand? It's like you're looking at the distance. So that was a big improvement. Now, that was published in the Australian and New Zealand Journal of Ophthalmology. Now, then I forgot about it. A lot of problems were there. And somebody told me that it has come in the journal. And then many years later, I found that a German company, a famous German company, is producing this. They have put this plus 1.5 lens in but you don't get any credit. So that was the end of that also. But because of this, and also there was another publication also in the Australian New Zealand Journal. So because of all this, Australian College of Ophthalmologists offered me a post in any of their universities. They sent the addresses of a lot of universities, departments. See, I enclose a copy of the departments in Australia. They said you can apply to them. And in fact, somebody offered me a post also. But again, because of financial and health reasons and all, I could not do. To tell you the truth, it's quite sad. I did not have money even to go for the visa to Delhi. That was the condition at that time, So that also fizzled out. So these are the things. Fizzled out.
You have shared some really interesting facts from your career in ophthalmology, and even you have gone beyond the boundaries of ophthalmology and done experiments in optics.
Yeah.
You are truly an inspiration, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you, everyone.